Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
Saying yes to the film. He said, no, I figured what the story is.
Wow.
I'm on board. Let's just go and make it. And it happened like that. There's no twist and there is no drama in that. It's just like it just happened. When I was writing it, I was very, very sure that so a couple of things. One, I wanted the audience to feel that they're part of the same journey.
Yeah.
When I'm showing the film to people, when they come out and say it was a great film, I ask them, the first thing what I ask them is what you didn't like in the film. Because for me, that is more important than what you like in the film. Hi, I am Nikhil Bhatt. I'm the director of film Kill and you're watching India Forums.
So there's a quote जो हम सुनते आते थे कि shallow waters are noisy and deep waters are silent. And जब करण जौहर सर ने ट्रेलर लॉन्च में बताया कि you are exactly one of those people, the silent ones but with the deep and intrusive thoughts, and वो हमें किल में देखने मिल ही गया. So do you feel that you are actually that as a person?
I'm a Zen person. I'm Zen.
Yes.
But I feel मेरे दिमाग में बहुत सारे volcanoes चल रहे हैं.
Of course.
So it comes from there. But I feel as a filmmaker, you need to be patient.
True.
You need to have I think that's a virtue if you have patience as a filmmaker, because you need it.
Yeah.
And you need it like it's your weapon. It takes time for films to get made. It takes time for a great shot to be shot. It takes time for a great actor to come on board.
Yeah.
So for everything, it first and foremost, it takes time for a great story to be made.
True.
So it's just the fact that you need to be patient.
Right.
Yeah.
So every director, after they do some projects, there's a essence that director carries with them. So आपके साथ हमने देखा है कि first after Apurva and Kill, what we all noticed is that there's a story of pain, and then the characters use that pain and it transpires into something violent, grey, and things like that. So do you think that will become your essence?
Oh, actually, it's a great observation. I had never thought like that, but yes, somewhere or the other, I feel all of us, we carry our pain, and we carry our pain and sorrow and our own struggles and all our own hardships.
Yeah.
And I feel it is so important to channelize them and to make something fruitful out of them. So that's where what I think of. But in my story, I would say that I'm very much intrigued by the David versus the Goliath. So that's which I feel I am a rooter for underdog.
Yeah.
So वो मेरी stories में आ जाता है, कहीं ना कहीं से वैसे आ जाता है.
Right. Also, so talking about Kill, abhi I talked with Tanya also. So I was telling her ki how when we started the movie, the Dharma banner comes, the slow music is coming, and then we get into action. So what was your process to convince Karan Johar to come on board for a film like this?
Just to let you know, the Karan, when he saw the film, the only thing which he wanted to change was that. Yes, that was the only thing which he wanted to change. What had happened was, Sikha, Guneet and Achin, and they came on board earlier.
Yeah.
So I had written the story way back in 2016.
16.
And I'd written it, and I'd written a 2-pager and I'd forgotten.
Okay.
Because I thought that itna action koi nahi karega. It's too raw and too gritty and too visceral, so nobody's going to do it. So there's a friend of mine called Alia Karnali.
Okay.
She knew about the story, and incidentally, she joined Sikha in 2019.
Oh.
And she came to me and she said, "You have that action film," and I blanked out. I said, "Which action film are you talking about?" And she said, "That train wal action film." I said, "Oh yeah, of course I have that, but nobody would do it." And she said, "No, Sikha is looking for wanting to make an action film." So Guneet and I, we've known each other for quite some time. So I met Guneet and I was telling her, "Listen, this is very difficult. This is a story, but this is what I want to do, and it is very difficult to do."
Yeah.
And then she said, I very clearly remember, she said that if it is difficult, let's make it. And from there, the journey began. So I wrote the entire story, and because I had not done any action film before, I wrote the entire action.
Yeah.
Like everything I wrote, and Guneet and I, we went to meet Karan Johar. And Karan Karan is a reader. He likes reading the script, and he said, "Why don't you send to me?"
Okay.
I said, "It is too cumbersome to read because it's just action one after the other, and it's written in so much in detail that it will. It's a very boring script. Like nobody wants to read the script." And then he said, "Okay, fine. If that is the case, just why don't you narrate it to me?" And I started narrating the story to him.
Okay.
And it reached the title card sequence, and the moment title card happens, he stopped.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm doing the film."
Okay.
And I said, like, I was sitting a little far away from him, and I thought that I did not hear properly. I thought he stopped. He's asked me to stop the story because he doesn't want to do the film. And I looked at Guneet, and Guneet said that you don't want to listen to the whole story before saying yes to the film. He said, "No, I figured what the story is. I'm on board. Let's just go and make it." And it happened like that. It was there's no twist and there is no drama in that. It's just like it just happened.
Wow, lovely. So talking about this, when you were writing the whole action sequences and everything, there has to be faith in the script, but at the same time you also have to have faith in the actors who will be doing it, because the way you have written it, आपने बहुत ही detail में सब कुछ लिखा. So did you feel that when Lakshya, Raghav and all these people came on board, did you have that initial faith? Okay, I think these people will be able to, transpire my script into what it is now.
So, I go with a lot of instincts.
Okay.
I go with a lot of instincts. So, normally, it depends on, on all three of them. I'll tell you that all three of them, I had different ways of, when I thought that he's or she's good for, he's best for the film. With Laksh, I met him once.
Okay.
I spoke to him. I narrated him the story. I spoke to him about his life. I spoke to him about my life. Like we had a 1.5 to 2 hour long conversation. And I felt that instinct from him that, he is the perfect guy. And I was supposed to meet at least 4 or 5 people after that.
Okay.
I felt, no, he's my Amrit.
Yeah.
I got out of the meeting. I messaged Guneet. I said, I don't want to meet anybody else.
True.
I found him. And she said, then Karan called me and Guneet said that, you should meet other people. You should go and meet other people. I said, no. Now, I'm like stuck with Laksh in my head that he's Amrit. I don't want to meet anybody else. And I did not meet anybody else. So that was Laksh. With Tanya, I'd seen Suitable Boy. And when I saw her, I said, she's the one. And I was trying to get in touch with her, and somehow she was shooting somewhere, and I was not able to get in touch. Like the entire team was not able to get in touch with her.
Okay.
And and because we were not able to get in touch with her, what happened that we started doing the audition, but वो मेरे दिमाग में बैठ गई. I wanted her only. मतलब बहुत सारी there are a lot of good actresses were being filmed in the audition days, but I was not liking anybody.
Yeah.
Because I thought that what Tanya can bring to the story, nobody else can bring to the story. Because I felt that Tulika is the soul of the film.
Yeah.
If you fall in love with Tulika, my film is done. And I felt somehow or the other, I was convinced that only Tanya can do the part. And that I got to know that a very close friend of mine was shooting with Tanya.
Wow.
So I called him up and I told him, please ask Tanya to get in touch with me. So Tanya got in touch with me, and when I told her, I gave her the scene and she did a self-tape and sent, and I said, this is what I was saying for the longest time. So that was Tanya. Now with Raghav, the part with he's playing is funny. And we did almost more than 120, 125 auditions.
Yes.
And we were not getting anyone. So casting, they had they were doing the casting, and Anmol was fed up, Karthik was fed up, and they were like pulling their hair apart, and they was constantly saying, "क्या चाहिए sir? नहीं है हमारे पास, हमारे actors खत्म हो गए, सब दे दिया है." And we were just racking our brains. And when my associate director Rishabh, he suggested Raghav's name, and then casting, we contacted him, and they asked him to do a self test because we were shooting in Varanasi. So he did a self tape and he sent it to us. And there was something which I was looking for funny. And there was a scene in which Funny is gone and he is he's gone to a doctor's clinic and is flirting with the receptionist.
Okay.
and suddenly he sees an opportunity and takes his gun out and he starts robbing the clinic. So that was a scene for the
audition.
For the audition.
Yeah.
And Raghav, when he was doing it, he was charming and he was flirting and there was so much of love and twinkle in his eye, and suddenly it turns ice cold. And that is what I was looking for, Tony, because his unpredictability is his weapon.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I said, he's the guy. He's the guy. And everybody was saying that, no, let's look at other people. He's a dancer. I said, no, yes, he is the guy. We have to cast him. He comes back, we do the audition, and everybody gets floored by his performance.
And it actually landed because everyone was rooting for
Yes.
Yes. So also I wanted to talk about how everyone, they are of course talking about the violence and everything in the film. But something which again caught our attention was the emotions, because it was actually, the hidden agenda.
Yeah.
And we were also talking about how the goons inside, jab unka bhi someone from their families were getting killed, so unme bhi ek emotion tha ki they were crying, they wanted to be off the train. So did you had that thing planned that, okay, I'll have to put this emotions as well?
So it was, when I was writing it, I was very, very sure that, so couple of things. One, I wanted the audience to feel that they're part of the same journey.
Yeah.
They are one of the passengers. And to do that, I needed to make them feel for everyone around. I also wanted them to feel for the goons as well as I wanted them to feel for Amrit also.
Yeah.
So, and it's a human emotion. When somebody is losing his close ones, you will feel that loss.
Yeah.
And I wanted to humanize the dacoits. So that experience becomes very real because you are seeing people dying in front of you. And I also was very, very particular about the fact that I did not want to create violence in a way that it is about bravado.
Yeah.
It is about swag. It is wherever that violence is, it is going to bring in grief and loss and pain.
True.
And I was very, very sure that, I wanted this to happen. When you are seeing as an audience, you will feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
You will feel sorry for the kind of violence which is being meted out to them, and you'll feel for them, because that is how you will get invested, and it's an immersive experience for you as an audience.
True. Also, in one of the interviews, you mentioned that how these days, even we all are seeing it, that the content-driven films, you gave examples of 12 Fail, Be It 12 Fail, The Munja, and now Kill, all these films, they are getting recognition for their content, and because they have that X factor, they're different, they're doing something. So, do you feel that while these films are, of course, they're coming up as underdogs, there also needs a balance of the massy films that, which have their masala entertainment flavors, so that there's a balance in the industry?
Of course. So, ours is a huge country.
Yeah.
And we, as an audience, have an appetite for all kinds of films.
Right.
So, a film like a 12th film can also do well. At the same time, a film like a Kalki can also do well.
Right.
So, and which is happening. Like, Kalki is doing well. 12th film has done. Jawan has done. Pathan has done well. So, there are so many. Animal has done.
Yeah.
Right? So, we as a nation, we love our films. And not just from Hindi films. Even you look at films coming from South.
Yeah.
Look at films coming from Bengal. All these kind of films, they have market. Like there are people who are loving these films, and these films are working in different in their own segments.
Yeah.
So we are so fortunate that in our country, so many different kinds of films work.
Yeah.
And we are really, really fortunate that as filmmakers that we are in these times where all kinds of films are being appreciated.
So before Kill, once you started the process and everything, did you also have some inhibitions because of the violence, criticism milega, ye hoga? Because nowadays people, they have become that hawk-eyed eagles. They want to just pinpoint things in everything, be it animal, be it jo bhi hoga, while they are enjoying it all. But at the same time, they want to nitpick things. Ke isme ye galat hai, wo galat hai. So,
see, criticism, if it's a constructive criticism, it is definitely welcome. वो निंदक नियरे राखी आंगन को पिछवाए, बिन साबुन पानी बिना निर्मल करे. So I would want, as a filmmaker, you need to keep learning.
Yeah.
So if somebody is not liking the film, I want to know why they are not liking the film. It is the most important thing. Like, when I'm showing the film to people, when they come out and say it was a great film, I ask them, the first thing what I ask them is what you didn't like in the film. Because for me that is more important than what you like in the film. And yes, of course, every filmmaker thinks about it, but like I said, I did not want to depict violence as, I didn't want to glamorize violence. I don't want to sensationalize violence. That's the reason why my experience for the audience has to be very real, so that they know the consequences of violence, what the consequences are. And like I've said a couple of times before also, I want to repeat here myself, that I feel that the consequences of violence are far more ghastly than the reasons of violence. So, and that is what I wanted to depict. So I was quite sure that, because it's such a personal story, it's a story coming out of guilt, out of rage, out of loss and pain. People are going to resonate with this.
True. Also, we were reading about the tweets and threads which comes after the film. So people were talking about कि Tulika बच जानी चाहिए थी. He did all this for her and she was dead and everything. And people root for happy endings in India, like majority of them. So while writing this, did you have the feeling that okay, maybe I should do something like that?
No, I was very, very clear. I was very, very clear that this needed to happen.
Okay.
It had to happen because that is the only thing which transforms him into such a person.
Yeah.
His moral compass is tested. His duties as a soldier is tested. Everything is tested because of this incident.
Yeah. And so lastly, while we had this great chat, there are some film scenes of trains. I want you to put the kill essence into that while they are happening in the train. Of course, they are very decent romantic scenes, but let's see what happens if kill goes into them.
Okay, sorry, if you can tell.
So I'll give you an example. For example, the DDLJ train sequence. How would the kill essence go into that?
Funny will stretch his hand for Benu to come on board.
And then...
Yeah.
The next is ये जवानी है दीवानी का train sequence.
It was the journey which they were taking.
They begin the trip.
They begin the trip. Right? On that bridge, people get. So there are some robbers who come in and Ranveer has to fight them.
Right. The third one is a bus sequence where Hum Saath Saath Hai, they all go into the bus for the trip.
So it's a highway bus which goes through, I would say, Chambal.
Yeah.
And there's some dacoits who loot them. And all the women fight.
Oh, lovely. And the last one, the iconic one, Jab We Met train sequence.
Jab We Met, we should let Jab We Met be Jab We Met. We should not touch it.
Also, just to add to this, recently in an interview, Imtiaz said that if, Jab We Met was made 20 years later or something, where we'll find Aditya and Geet, and he said that they'll be in a divorce lawyers. So, do you want to comment on that?
I think Imtiaz is an amazing filmmaker, and if he I'm sure there must be a story brewing in his mind.
Yeah.
And when he's saying that, I'm very, 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 very confident that he's going to come up with something very soon. And I'll be rooting for that, and I'll be rooting for both of them, and to see how the ending is happy.
Definitely. And so, lastly, is there anything brewing in your mind? Are you coming up with something else? Any project?
I'm writing.
Okay.
I'm writing currently. That is also action, and that is also a revenge story.
Okay.
So let's see.
Right.
Let's see.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.